for your presence in the room. So we are waiting for a couple of more minutes for another panelist to join, then we'll start soon. Thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you to our speakers and thank you to all the audiences in the room. My name is Shikeba Ahmadi and I'm working with the Women in Peacemaking team at the CMI. Today's webinar is organized by the CMI Martti Ahtisaari Peace Foundation in coordination with the UN Youth of Finland at the occasion of the Youth Peace Week 2023. The CMI is an independent Finnish organization which works to prevent and resolve conflicts through dialogue and mediation. On the practical notes, please note that this webinar is being recorded and streamed live on CMI's YouTube channel. We encourage you to tweet and discuss the webinar actively on Twitter and other social media platforms using the hashtag #YouthActivismForPeace. And I believe more information will follow in the chat box. About the structure of the panel today, we have 40 minutes for discussion and we'll try to have 10 to 15 minutes towards the end for the Q&A. So please feel free to use the Q&A option in posting your questions whenever they arise. And just to contextualize the agenda of today a little bit, in 2015, the UN Security Council adopted Resolution 2250 on youth, peace and security, which was thought to be a landmark resolution to recognize youth's positive contributions to peace building and to unpack stereotypes about youth for causing violence. However, meaningful inclusion of youth remains a challenge in existing power structures. Nevertheless, Young people have been able to identify cracks in both formal and informal settings for their contribution of societal transformation, and they have also advocated for a seat at the decision-making table, while in some cases, they have created their own table to push for social change. Today, we are here to unfold models of youth activism and learn young activists' experiences, their approaches for change, challenges and opportunities, and their vision for sustainable peace. I would like to also mention that the current situation in Nagorno-Karabakh underlines the need for peaceful dialogue among youth and other stakeholders. We have speakers from Armenia and Azerbaijan with us as peace builders in this session. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our panelists today. We have 4 panelists in this session. We have Lucine Kosakian with us, who is a human rights specialist and a peace practitioner from Armenia. She is the co-founder of Frontline Youth Network, a platform to connect, educate, and empower women and youth from rural and borderline communities. She has over 7 years of experience in gender and peace education and youth work on the grassroots and advocacy levels. Currently, she is promoting peace education in public schools in Armenia and advocating for a more intersectional and comprehensive approach to peace building. Welcome to the panel, Lucine. Then we have Lala Safarli with us, who is the co-founder of the Sara movement, which is dedicated to gender equality, women's empowerment, and increasing women's participation in peace-building initiatives. Lala has organized impactful workshops on peace building and coexistence at the Bargo Foundation. Her dedication to sustainable peace is further exemplified by her role as facilitator at the Youth Peace Camp 2023, organized by the Council of Europe. Lala has also organized the Shamkir Winter School on conflict resolution and dialogue for Azerbaijani youth. Welcome to the panel, Lala. We're glad to have you. Then we have with us Muhammad Abu Shamala, who's a young activist based in the Gaza Strip, Palestine. He graduated from the Faculty of English Language and Translation at Al-Azhar University. As a young activist, he has joined many community-related initiatives, projects, and organizations, believing in the importance of voluntary work in building community and improving the skills of youth. Welcome to the panel, Muhammad. Then we have with us Husna Jalal, who is a women's rights activist and peace advocate from Afghanistan. Husna has worked tremendously for civil and political rights, especially for the promotion of the political rights of Afghan women. Ms. Jalal is the founder of the Young Afghan Women's Movement in Afghanistan and the associate founder of the Freedom Message newspaper. Ms. Jalal was forced to leave Afghanistan after 15th of August 2021. Welcome to the panel, Ms. Jalal. I see that she has not joined us yet, but I hope she'll be able to join us soon. So without further ado, I would like to get to the discussion. So I would like to address my first question to all the panelists. So perhaps I'll start asking Lala Safarli. Lala, please share with us your journey of activism, highlighting specific approaches and practices undertaken in your work. What does sustainable peace mean to you as a young activist, reflecting on your experiences of working with youth? Over to you, Lala.
Thank you for the introduction, Shakiba. Hello, everyone. I'm deeply honored to be part of this conference, and especially during these times. And I'm a graduate of political science, and my journey into the world of activism began during a transformative experience in India back in 2016. I worked there as a global volunteer with young people. So I first witnessed the profound impact of activism and advocacy that can have impact on our world, and it was there I discovered the potential of youth to be the architects of a more peaceful future. So after realizing the importance of this kind of initiatives, upon returning to my homeland, I started organizing and facilitating projects, workshops, and seminars on critical issues such as gender equality, youth participation, and peace. During my time, as you mentioned, Shekeba, during my time as a community mobilizer at German International Cooperation Agency, known as GIZ, I worked with IDP young people, internally displaced young people, and I saw them, I observed that this experience of war, how it took their peaceful existence. So I understand that the conflict and the war could cause traumas in the lives of young people. And after that, I worked as a facilitator at Berger Foundation, where I had the opportunity to interview individuals who shared coexistence stories. These kind of stories are really important because young people don't have this kind of experience, and they need to hear this kind of stories that they start believing in peaceful coexistence. And these stories also reveal that even in the face of conflict, there's always a spark of hope and the potential for reconciliation when we take the time to truly listen each other and understand each other. And this year, I became a facilitator at the Youth Peace Camp organized by Council of Europe. I witnessed the power of young people. They are coming together and transcending borders, prejudices to envision a world where peace is not just an aspiration, but also a tangible reality. And in addition to my international work, I organize local projects, and the recent one was the Shamkir Winter School. And this winter school was so important for me because it was the first time that people from disadvantaged regions, young people from disadvantaged regions, they got the opportunity to be informed about the types of conflicts and the tools needed to resolve these conflicts through a peaceful means. And I firmly believe that change is most potent when it takes place in the field where real communities, they face real challenges. That's why I implement projects for vulnerable groups in disadvantaged regions of my country. That it is also for me important to ensure that no one left behind in our pursuit of sustainable peace. And as your second question, what does sustainable peace mean to me? Reflecting on my experiences of working with youth, I have been fortunate to engage in various approaches and also practices that have shaped my understanding of sustainable peace and its significance, especially in the context of youth activism. So sustainable peace for me is not just the absence of conflict or war, it is the presence of justice and equity. So it is a dynamic process rooted in justice and reconciliation. It's also involved all segments of society and particularly the youth. So to conclude my speech, my journey of activism has reinforced my belief in the transformative power of youth engagement, especially building sustainable peace. And it has shown me that sustainable peace can be achieved through dialogue, empowerment, and inclusive participation. And I want to say that I am committed to continuing this journey, working hand in hand with young activists worldwide to turn our collective vision of sustainable peace into the reality. And I truly believe that we can be the change makers and the peacemakers our world so desperately needs. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the amazing remarks. I would like to go back to your remarks and highlight that, as you mentioned, that the coexistence stories is very important for you to believe that this is not an aspiration, but it's a tangible reality. Peace is a tangible reality, and peace means for you the presence of justice and equity. Very well said, Lala. Thank you very much. Now, moving on to Lucine for her remarks on the question. Lucine, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation and giving this platform for such an important discussion. Probably I'm going to start with a very personal story. I was born in borderline region. Basically, I remember I was born and raised there up until university years. And what I can remember from my childhood that this specific territory was deeply affected from the 90s war. And it was a part of my basically childhood daily discussions happening in the family, in the school, and everywhere, basically wherever I would go. So peace and conflict became personal to me first. And then when I continued my education, already having an experience of opening door of opportunities, let's say, I could compare my life before in the borderline region and the life in the capital and basically also abroad. And that arose so much sense of injustice that I wanted to fight against and basically to contribute, helping my people from my region to at least have those opportunities or access to opportunities, the alternative life that could be there. People living in my region, basically they need to dare to imagine peace as they never seen it in their lives. And because of that, I continued studying the peace. And I was not lucky actually to have my own explanation of peace before I studied it. That's why I cannot give very personal approach to that, but it is becoming more daily activity to me, to feel the peace every day. And, you know, it is so connected to the political situation, to a very local situation, what is happening inside you, and it is getting complex, even harder to reach. But what I feel like young people have so much power, so much courage to imagine the future they want to live in. And the peace is integrated part of the future. I feel if we take the leadership and earn our place in a decision-making tables and everywhere possible, it's going to be easier to basically get to the point when we're going to be enjoying it. So that was very personal approach, but because of all this, I also co-founded the organization, the aim of which was basically to connect, educate, and empower young people from rural and borderline areas. We started with very grassroots activism, having discussions locally, marching together, applying non-formal educational toolbox. But then we also saw after 2024 that it is not enough. So we needed to make our practices more institutional and also impactful when it comes to state decisions. That's why we started the advocacy efforts. And then also we believed that the education and any behavior that strives our daily activities should be based on specific values. And peace is one of the core values, basically what drives our activism. I will stop at the moment and then share more about what is right now happening. I mentioned that peace is everyday activity, and because of unfortunate situation right now in Nagorno-Karabakh, basically starting from December of last year, the people of Nagorno-Karabakh living in those territories were blocked. The corridor bridging this specific territory to Armenia was in a blockade, and because of that, there was no access basically to food, any kind of resources. And then unfortunately the day later of getting the first humanitarian aid, attacks started, very violent attacks started, and now people are usually in shelters or have to get displaced. And this is becoming another humanitarian crisis, which cannot be basically, which is still very influencing to both physical and emotional aspect of young people. And I'm going to point out young people here because those people don't have experience of going through such situations, and their actions sometimes could be not based on very rational decisions, but very emotional. And this is something that my organization also tries to work at the moment, how to help those people to also overcome the stress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lucine. I recall that you said peace is a daily activity. So would you mind sharing a couple of words what peace mean to you, having worked with youth? In a couple of words. Thank you.
Yes, sure. Basically, yeah, as actually Lala mentioned, it's not just absence of violence, but also so many preconditions that you need to be able to basically live, create, do whatever you want to do, and it is getting more also individual, the way we understand and what we do for peace. So it's the way we communicate with our peers. It's how do we believe in future and how we imagine future. That is the peace, basically, to be able to imagine it, to have the freedom to choose whatever you want, where you want to go, what you want to create.
Thank you very much. To be able to imagine peace is actually peace. That's beautifully said, and I understand that Lola also kind of said that amidst war there is always a sparkle of hope. So thank you very much. Now moving to Muhammad, perhaps I would like to repeat the question for those of us who have recently joined in the room. So Muhammad, please share with us your journey of activism, highlighting specific approaches and practices undertaken in your work. What does sustainable peace mean to you as a young activist, reflecting on your experiences of working with youth? Over to you, Muhammad.
Thank you, Shakiba, for the introduction. And thank you for everyone to attendance. I can identify the sustainable peace as briefly after Lucina and Lala. When you can make your dream as real, anytime, anywhere you want, the place that give you the chance, give you the opportunity to make your dream as real. Okay, but sustainable peace means a state of tranquility, harmony, and stability that endures over time. It's not merely like Lala mentioned, the absence of violence or the absence of armed conflict, but encompasses justice, equality, and cooperation among individuals and communities. Sustainable peace requires addressing the root causes of conflicts, promoting social and economic development, upholding human rights, and fostering a culture of tolerance and dialogue. It's a state in which people can live without fear, have access to opportunities, and enjoy their fundamental freedoms, while ensuring the well-being of the future generation. That's in briefly after Lala and Messina said. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Muhammad. That's very well said. Fostering culture of tolerance and dialogue in very valid words. Would you also want to shed light a little bit on the on your journey of activism, and if you want to share some practices that or some initiatives that you have been involved? Yes.
Okay, I want to say something in 2021 after the aggression of the Gaza Strip. We launched an initiative. It's the biggest national initiative in Palestine. It's called We Will Rebuild It after the Israeli aggression on Gaza Strip or Israeli attack. More of 5,000 people participate with this initiative to clean up the country. That what we want to send the international community. We are together. We can rebuild our community with a lot of tolerance, with a lot of love, with a lot of dreams. We can make the dream. We can make the sustainable peace in our country.
Thank you very much. Those are very inspiring words. So I see that our other panelist has not been able to join yet. because of the technical issues, and hopefully she can join us soon. So whenever she will be able to join, I'll get back to her with this question. So moving on, I would like to address my next question to Muhammad. So Muhammad, as you already pointed out about the community level initiatives, the voluntary work, and the importance of these. So it would be interesting to hear from you about the importance of community level initiatives and voluntary work for youth. And could these initiatives potentially lead to more peaceful conditions in the context of Gaza Strip? Over to you.
Okay. Here's why they are essential and how they can lead to positive change. Okay. Importance of community level initiatives and voluntary social work for youth in Gaza. Like, one, empowerment. And engaging in community level initiatives and voluntary social work empowers young people in Gaza by giving them a sense of purpose and agency. It allows them to take an active role in addressing local challenges. Skill development. Youth involved in such initiatives gain practical skills, leadership experience, and deeper understanding of their communities. Needs that skills can be valuable for their personal and professional development. Social cohesion. These initiatives foster a sense of belonging and social cohesion among young people. They provide a platform for youth from diverse backgrounds to come together, collaborate, and build relationships based on shared goals. Problem solving. Youth-led initiatives often tackle pressing community issues such as poverty, employment, education, and healthcare. By working on solutions to these problems, young people can make a tangible impact on their communities. Peacebuilding, community level initiatives and voluntary social work can play a crucial role in peace-building efforts. They promote dialogue, cooperation, and conflict resolution skills among young people, which are essential components of building peaceful societies.
Thank you very much. As you touched upon the grassroots level work, the community level work, it is in a way very important in terms of understanding the context and the need of the people. So the youth being involved in these locally driven initiatives, they are well aware of the needs of the community, with the aspect of having, of course, the dimension of that young age to the initiative that makes it, of course, if utilized and if mobilized effectively, it can change their conditions into more peaceful ones. Thank you very much, Muhammad. Now, as we touched a little bit on the sensitivities earlier, it would be nice to hear from Lucene about her current work. So Lucene, how do you approach the topic of peace with youth in the current circumstances? And what are the objectives of peace education in Armenia? And please feel free to shed light on the challenges and opportunities, if any.
Thank you very much for the question. Basically, peace has always been a sensitive topic in any war-torn societies. And this is also the case. It was always there when it comes to family or domestic discussions, but when it comes to more political ones, everyone would basically not use at least the word, but pick some alternatives. This was also the case when it comes to the education. Well, traditionally, those were the topics, peace building, and everything connected with that were the topic that civil society would push forward, but it was never, locally owned, I might say, because people didn't see how they were helping the situation. This was the place for security people, military involvement, and young people, they never had a voice there. So this is changing, hopefully. There are specific, at least since 2018, when the government changed in Armenia, there was more opportunity to talk about peace, which is good and bad, but it is like a debateful topic. But my organization, I mentioned, it started on very grassroots level, starting with non-formal talks about peace. But at some point when we saw that there is an opportunity to also make it more institutional, we took the opportunity and also created a content which could be helpful for public school. At the moment, we have 2 handbooks that were confirmed by the Ministry of Education for teachers, how to teach topics on peace and how to have all those uncomfortable discussions when it comes to building peace and what can be involvement of young people in that. There is no answers to that, but at least there is a space to discuss it. Of course, it is getting harder and harder every time when crisis hits, and the room for such discussions gets more limited. But I must say that because the process already started, young people have more ownership and also responsibility, and they also see their role, how they can influence it. And you mentioned at the very beginning, there is this UN resolution on youth, peace and security. It is not still adopted as a national action plan, but there is another one, women, peace, security, that actually is related to that, which recognizes, both of them recognize how war and conflict hits everyone, but so everyone experience, but in a different way. It's the case also with young people. So it also means that their needs are different and they should also be addressed differently. So in Armenia, at least I can say that there is a space for discussion without any solutions, because, well, one solution wouldn't fit all situations, but it is getting less taboo topic at least, but there should be more awareness on this, and also the environment should be also friendly in order to foster such kind of discussions. And, you know, another issue is like whenever you start such discussions, anyone would ask like, what is happening in the other side if everyone wants the same? And this is another topic I believe international community has more role in that, make sure that all those developments, they happen at least simultaneously, equally, and so that we can also have this more agency, basically, also to talk that, yeah, changes are happening, they might be slow, but we need to believe in that. And solidarity is the key when it comes to young people. So yeah, I might stop probably here.
Yeah, thank you very much for your intervention. You touched upon the local ownership and the importance of the local ownership in the grassroots level initiatives. Of course, it is a process which should be empowered in the initiatives, although in some cases the top-down approaches might have been effective, but in most of the cases the bottom-up approaches have been really result-orienting or result-generating in certain contexts. And it's so important to connect with one another and educate. So when you connect, you would know that if people have the same ideas or different ideas, and when you educate, you will be more aware. So automatically, it is a form of empowering and providing or helping to awaken the agency. So thank you very much, Lucine, for the wonderful remarks. Now I will move to Lola. For the, as we have somehow touched upon the national challenges and perhaps some opportunities, it would be great to go and touch a little bit about the regional opportunities and the challenges. So Lola, how can we promote inclusion of youth in regional peace initiatives? And what are the obstacles and where do you see the opportunities? Over to you.
So for me, the inclusion of young people in peace initiatives is not only a matter of choice, but a necessity, and especially considering how conflict and the war impact lives of youngsters. In my country, there are more than 2 million young people who, like everyone else, yearn for a life free from devastating effects of conflict and war. They too have experienced the pain and loss and the disruption that conflict brought. And so by excluding them from peace initiatives, we deny them the opportunity to contribute the solutions that could directly benefit their futures and the futures of their communities. As a young people, we understand the consequence of conflict and the war better than anyone, and we can provide this unique insight into its resolution. So for me, inclusion isn't just about a goodwill, it is about recognizing the inherent value that these young people can bring to the table. And so they are not merely a recipient of peace, but also active agents of it. So we need to give young people a chance to express themselves, and we should create awareness campaigns and educational programs to inform young people about the importance of peace building and their role in it. Because young people, they see themselves as a weak point, they always leave this kind of decision-making process to older ones, but we can change this narrative. So we need to promote the inclusion of youth by creating more opportunities and regional projects, specifically like designed to involve young individuals in peace initiatives, like peace projects only for young people. They can make decisions and they can be part of these projects. So this can involve like several cases. For example, first, we must address the lack of chances from youth, young people from the conflict-affected communities to meet with their peers in real life, because for many young people, it is rarely they have the opportunity to interact with their peers from the other side of the conflict. And I believe the most important solution to any problem is direct communication. If we create this kind of opportunities where young people can come together and they can discuss this kind of issues and the solutions for these problems, we can make a change. And this physical separation also perpetuates these stereotypes and prejudice, making the path to peace even more challenging. So overcome this obstacle, we need to facilitate cultural programs, exchanges, initiatives that can bring young people together. And such interaction also helps to humanize the other, because we have this dehumanizing. We don't see the enemy as a human being, we see that as an enemy. But in case like creating opportunities where young people can see each other in real life and can communicate with each other, we can change this mindset and we can humanize the other. Also, it will help to foster understanding and empathy between communities. And secondly, they will be crucial to create more online and offline platforms, because we are living in the 21st century. It is like the digital age. So there are so many opportunities, online opportunities. We can create platforms like social media channels. Young people can gather and they can discuss the conflict resolution and peace. And social media is the key tool for that, promoting youth engagement in peace. And this platform should also encourage open dialogue and active participation, also exchange of ideas. I believe by establishing such platforms, we can empower young people to express their concerns and hopes and also visions for peace. For me, it is essential that both online and also offline initiatives provide a safe space where young people can voice their opinions without fear of any judgment or backlash. Because for some young people, talking about peace or being part of any peace initiative is being disloyal to their community or not being patriotic. But we can change this mindset to involve young people in regional peace work. We can do that. And another obstacle I feel is that young people also feel like they don't have any power or any resource to make a difference. But we can change this mindset in order to organize promoting activities, raising awareness activities that as an individual, they are so powerful and they are stronger enough to make a change, at least in their surrounding, in their communities, like it is a starting point for them, and they can, after gaining enough experience, they can do more activities in maybe local level, even national level. So another way to promote this youth inclusion in these peace initiatives, engage international organizations and also donors to prioritize the youth inclusion in regional peace efforts. There are so many international national or regional projects, and most of them are for like 35 plus years old. Like we need to involve young people more this kind of activities, this kind of initiatives. And I believe by providing an education, also raising awareness, the importance of peace, we can empower youngsters to be active contributors of peace, especially in regional peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your invaluable insights. Definitely direct communication among youth, which would allow to humanize the other side was mentioned by you, a very good point to be noted. And of course, in terms of the initiatives, the youth should be allowed to lead the process. They should not be given a ready-made projects to implement as food soldiers. They should be able to design and implement and lead a process. So that opportunity and the youth to be given the space to express their opinions without judgments and backlashes. So just to narrow down the generational gap that we see in certain contexts today. And of course, you also highlighted on the responsibility of the donors and regional decision makers as well to consider youth as a stakeholder in the community, aside from highlighting the role of the local authorities. Thank you very much, Lala. Very insightful. I see that Husna Jalal is in the room. We are happy that she has been able to connect, but I'll get to the next question and I'll go to Lucine, then I'll get back to the initial question, addressing that to Husna. So as now we have discussed about the challenges and obstacles, it would be great to shed a little bit light on the solutions and if there are any recommendations or remedies to the existing situation and circumstances. So Lucine, do you have any recommendations to address systematic and cultural obstacles for youth activism? Over to you. And please feel free to share if you have any relevant tips in the current circumstances of your context.
Thank you very much. I feel like I don't need to give general answers to that. Basically, it wouldn't work in specific situation like this. But I feel like everyone has the responsibility to do their best to help the situation, basically. The locals, of course, they need to be more self-aware, more conscious about the wording, the actions that they are doing there. But probably my suggestions gonna be directed to international community or young people, basically. I mentioned that we need to be in solidarity. And, you know, when it comes to what we experience and feel and practice, it's so similar regardless where we are. So those needs that we share are common. Probably we need to be more empathetic towards the situation and also be informed to continuously self-educate, be self-aware about the biases that we have, which is we can get rid of it, but at least we can acknowledge that they are there. And also to, as it was already mentioned, probably young people, and it is structural thing, but they don't believe that they have power, but they do, and it is much. So I feel like we need empowerment and not ever internalizing the conflicts that are happening. And while getting this empowerment that can come from family, from peers, from within, we need to act, basically. Act in the scopes of influence that we have. I don't feel like we can change or save the world, but at least we can do our best to help specific situations. And while doing that, we also need to acknowledge probably that, well, small changes, they do matter, and never be discouraged about the situation that's probably in global sense might not change that fast, but the small changes, the positive contributions that are bringing daily, even it is like helping someone to overcome some emotional things or I don't know, any situation, helping someone physically is already enough. Basically, do whatever is possible at the moment and still stay in solidarity with each other. I feel there are things like peace that are beyond borders, and everyone wants peace. We just need to make sure that we do our best, care about each other, and yeah, never get discouraged and continue doing so.
Thank you very much. Yes, acknowledging our own biases, because as an individuals, we all have our own biases in the environments that we grow. That was a good point highlighted by Lucine, and small changes matter, definitely. In Persian, we have a saying that says, "Khatra khatra darya mein shavad," which means that the drops make an ocean. So thank you very much, Lucine. Now, I'm glad to know that we have Husna Jalal with us. So I would like to get back to the first question that we missed her response to. So Husna Jan, please share with us your journey of activism, highlighting specific approaches and practices undertaken in your work. What does sustainable peace mean to you as a young activist, reflecting on your experiences of working with youth? Over to you.
Thank you, Shakiba Jan. Hi to everyone, and my apologies for what happened. It was a technical issue, and it took some time for the person to correct it. I'm glad that I'm here, and a special thank to the CMI for organizing this panel. I think it's a pleasure to be here and to represent my sisters from Afghanistan, the young girls in this panel. Well, as an activist from Afghanistan and as somebody who has lived inside the country in the past 20 years, and we experienced democracy, we experienced the peace process when it started in 2014 for the first time, and then the peace deal that happened in 2020 with the Taliban. Well, for me, I think sustainable peace would mean an inclusive peace, and that's something I think that in Afghanistan we haven't experienced that yet. So and if I talk in the context of Afghanistan, and that was also the main reason that I think the negotiations failed, and then the process of peace building and peace sustaining peace in the country failed, especially can you do you have my voice?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Sorry for that. Especially for the young generation of Afghans who, they have enjoyed the rights and freedom, and especially when the negotiations started, they were not part of. They were not asked, that what peace would mean for them, what kind of future they want in Afghanistan. So for me, I think overall, I can say that it should be a sustainable peace is an inclusive peace, where all the minorities, the young people, the older people as well, are included in that process.
Thank you very much, Husna Jan, as you shed light on the challenges with the peace process in Afghanistan. So I would like to ask you a follow-up question on that. What are the challenges of youth activism in the current context of Afghanistan? And what are the sources of motivation for youth to continue their efforts for peace? Over to you.
I think this is a very interesting question, because these days we are all young people tackling with this issue, especially with the issue of ageism that we are facing in the current scenario. And coming from a country that's quite conservative and traditional, it's very difficult to, have your voice when you're young. So also culturally, we have this thing in our tradition that they say that unless you're not married and then you're not over 40, they don't take you very much seriously. So I think that's one of the main challenges a lot of people have faced, I think, and I am hearing it also in different platforms, ageism. And but still young people are fighting for it, and they want to be part of any process that's going on in the country, inside the country and outside the country, and they want to have their voice to be heard, because the future is the young people of Afghanistan and the young people in other countries. And I think it would be very unfair that the older generation would decide for us that, what kind of future should be there, and what kind of approaches should be embraced. So I think this is one of the main challenges. But of course, as also young activists, women activists, patriarchy is there. It's a very risky challenge, and also for a lot of people who are inside the country that I'm in contact with through the movement, Young Afghan Women's Movement, the insecurity, especially after 15th of August, that youth activism has been very difficult for them, resisting outside of their houses for their basic human rights. As you can see also through media, that a lot of these young girls are protesting, and they're protesting in a civic way, asking for their rights in the streets of Kabul and resisting against the anti-women policies of the current regime in Afghanistan. So all these people, all these young people are trying to tackle with all these obstacles and challenges that are there inside the country, but also outside of the country, for an inclusive future, for a future that they should have a say, that what kind of government is going to be there in Afghanistan, or what kind of or who should be the leader. So yeah, I'm just trying to be very precise, because I know that it's quite late, and there should be time for the questions. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. Husna highlighted the older generation to believe in the strength and ability of the younger generation, and despite a lot of contextual challenges, the young people still continue to work for social change.
Yeah, definitely. I would also like to say this last sentence, that it's very important that the culture of tolerance should come, and people, especially women, they should feel less insecure from each other, the older women and the younger women. And I think the older women should share their experiences and what they have learned throughout their activism and activism journey in Afghanistan, and also outside of Afghanistan with the younger women. So I think they should be the policy givers, and the younger people should be taken seriously, and their voices shouldn't be discredited. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Husna John. Now I understand that we are running out of time, so we'll quickly get to the next question. I would like to ask the question from Lola. So we have, of course, talked about the other issues, as it is the age of modernism, and it would be very relevant to ask that the role of digital technologies to enhance youth activism in conflict prevention and peace building. So Lola, please feel free to also share your thoughts on the earlier questions, seeking recommendations to address systematic and cultural obstacle for youth activism. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you, Shakeba. So I can start from the first question: digital technology's role in enhancing youth activism in conflict prevention, also in peace building. I believe that in 21st century, the digital tools, they are the powerful tools that amplify youth voices, enable global connectivity, and they facilitate innovative approach to address conflict-related challenges. So digital platforms provide young activists with a global stage to share their stories, ideas, and advocacy efforts. So it is also a platform to be an activist and also advocate your ideas, your beliefs, your values there. Social media blogs, online, online forums, this kind of platforms allow us to reach broader audience and also mobilize support and raising awareness about pressing issues. Coming back to your second question about the youth activism obstacles, I believe the first obstacle is young people are not taken seriously by community because most of people believe young people have lack of experience and also knowledge to be a leader. But for me, it's not like that because in the current world, young people have more experience and more knowledge. So we need to promote this youth leadership idea. We should encourage young individuals to take on leadership roles, starting from schools, their community organizations, even local governments, even parliaments. So they will have the voice and they can express their ideas and the concerns in such platforms. Another solution is we need to make sure that young people, young youth activists, they have access to resources such as funding, training, and also I mentioned before, like spaces that they can express themselves. And my last recommendation would be about policy reforms. Unfortunately, in some countries, there is this age barrier for the participation. So we need to advocate for policies that protect rights of young people and they remove barriers to their engagement, their participation on any kind of like local level and also national level participation. Yeah.
Thank you very much for those final words. Very
you.
well noted, Lola. Mohammed, we understand that in the context of Palestine, youth have been able to utilize digital technologies, especially the social media platforms. In some cases, they have faced repercussions and they have got different results. So it would be interesting to learn from you the role of digital technologies in youth activism, conflict prevention, and peace building in the context of Gaza Strip. Over to you. Okay. Unfortunately, I see that Mohammed has dropped out, so I'm gonna address the question to Husna. Husna, you are the founder of Young Afghan Women's Movement, which is a digital movement. It would be interesting to learn from you about the role of digital technologies. Over to you.
Thank you, Shikiba-Jan. I think it has benefited us a lot so far, especially that now we are outside of the country in exile, and some of our sisters are inside Afghanistan after 15th of August. So it's also means to connect with people, with the young girls who are inside the country. The social media platforms such as Twitter, it's helping us to connect with world leaders, and it's a great platform, as Lola said, for advocacy, for activism, and for for sharing our messages with the world leaders, with the world organizations, that what young people actually want. So it has been very. We have benefited a lot from it, and in the context of Afghanistan, as you know, that it's been, I think, more than 700 days that girls are not allowed to go to school and university, and these platforms, digital platforms, are being used for education right now inside the country, and for advocacy as well. And I mean, as you all might know, that this movement that we have also through WhatsApp groups, we are connecting, and I mean, overall, we are benefiting from it, and it's a great tool to mobilize women, especially young women, in the current scenario, and to mobilize, to come together, and to become one voice, and to advocacy for the rights, and yeah.
Thank you very much. I understand that I'm running over time. So quickly getting back to Mohammed. Mohammed, please share your thoughts on the role of digital technologies, and of course, not only reflecting on the opportunities and facilities, but also on the shortcomings, if any. Over to you.
Awesome.
Okay, it seems we cannot hear you.
Shakiba, you hear me?
Yes. Did you hear the question, Mohammed?
Shakiba?
Yes, I can hear you. Did you hear the question? Okay, that is very unfortunate. It seems that the connection is not supporting. So perhaps now I will go to the Q&A. So I'm
Shakiba,
so
you hear
sorry.
me?
Yes, and it's breaking, Mohammed. Yeah, so maybe I'll get to the Q&A. We will take only one question, as the time really does not allow for more. So we are taking this for our audiences who have been with us until now. So there are a few questions in the chat, and I will take one. And this is, of course, open for all the panelists, whoever wants to react. The question is, if we think that peace is never 100% reached, but rather peace and conflict is in line along which each society constantly moves, what would be your wish to be the situation in your society in 5 years? And what would be young people's position and status at that point?
Shakiba, do you hear me? I'm back.
Yes, I can hear you, Mohammed. So perhaps we can get the final words from you, and then we'll get back to the question from the Q&A. Please feel free to share. We are really running over time. Thank you.
Do you want me to share something about digital technologies? I'm
Yes.
sorry, but the internet is not stable here.
Okay.
That's the situation in Gaza.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you still want to share?
I'm gonna talk about the digital technologies and how can play a significant role in enhancing youth activism in conflict prevention and peace building in several ways. Information sharing and awareness. Digital platforms, including social media, websites, and online forums, allowing activists to share information about conflicts, human rights abuses, and peace initiatives. This helps raise awareness among a global audience and mobilize support for peace efforts. Communication and networking. Digital technologies enable young activists to connect with like-minded individuals, organizations, and experts across geographical boundaries. This facilitates the exchange of ideas, best practice, and collaboration of peace-building projects. Advocacy and mobilization. Social media and online campaigns empower youth activists to advocate for peace and social justice. They can mobilize, support, organize protests, and influence policymakers through digital platforms. And also data collection and analysis. Digital tools can assist in collecting and analyzing data related to conflicts, human rights violation, and peace building efforts. This data can inform evidence-based advocacy and policy recommendations, and also educating and training. Online platforms offer opportunities for young activists to access peace education and conflict resolution training. They can acquire valuable skills and knowledge to contribute effectively to peace initiatives. Early warning systems. Digital technologies can be used to develop early warning systems that monitor conflict dynamics and alert relevant stakeholders to emerging threats. This allows for timely intervention and conflict prevention. Crisis mapping. Digital mapping tools help youth activists visualize conflict areas and identify areas in need of humanitarian assistance. These maps can aid in coordination of relief efforts and resource allocation. Digital storytelling. Youth activists can use multimedia such as videos, podcasts, and blogs to share personal stories and experiences related to conflict and peace. This storytelling approach can engage a broader audience and generate empathy and support. Online peace building initiatives. The virtual peace building programs and platforms can engage youth in peace dialogues, reconciliation process, and median efforts, fostering a sense of ownership and conflict resolution. However, it's important to recognize that while digital technologies offer numerous opportunities for youth activism and conflict prevention and peace building, they also come with the challenges. These challenges include issues related to digital security, misinformation, and the digital divide, unequal access to technology. Therefore, it's essential to address these challenges and provide young activists with the necessary digital literacy and cybersecurity skills to navigate the online landscape effectively while working toward sustainable peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very well said that the digital technologies do facilitate mobilizing youth and people, and it can also help to convey the messages to policymakers and the accessibility on digital technologies for the youth to be part of a process. And it can also help in terms of conflict mapping. But of course, the shortcoming would include cybersecurity, misinformation, and so on. Hopefully, in another convening, we can open that topic. So thank you very much, Muhammad. Very well said. So maybe I think it was perhaps a good time for speakers to think about the question that I read from the Q&A. So if any panelists would like to react, please feel free to take the floor.
Dear Shakiba, I can answer the first question about what would I want to be the situation in 5 years. Unfortunately, there is a conflict in my country as well, and I want in 5 years in my country, there are all nations, including Armenians and Azerbaijans, they live together in peace, and they start to believing and trusting each other. So as a young person, I think our position and status at this point promoting this trust, starting our family in our community even in bigger scale. Like we need to believe each other because we are the citizens of this country, and we need to promote this coexistence. So there is not like any other option that one of this community will somehow vanish. We need to learn how to coexist, how to live together. And I hope in 5 years we will achieve that.
Yes, thank you very much. Please allow me to end the session because we are very much over time. So I would like to end the session with the points raised by our panelists today, that peace is not an aspiration, but a tangible reality. And peace means fostering culture of tolerance and dialogue. So thank you very much for your participation today. Have a good day. Bye.